morning. It's Ostley Garden Centre's Christmas escapades with a camel. Come on, inwards. Don't drop your food. It's Father Christmas, yeah.
Welcome to another episode of Toby's Stupid Vlog.
Happy Sunday from Richmond Park. Come out to make the most of the sunshine and the leaves falling from the trees. It's beautiful, isn't it?
What are you doing that?
It's very autumnal. Good morning, it's Tuesday. It's really cold today. Yesterday was quite good fun. As you might have seen, there was a lot of the Van Gogh immersion experience thing that we went to. Whilst Amelia was at nursery, myself and Crystal had the day off and we went into town. We had lunch at the German Gymnasium in King's Cross, which is an excellent restaurant. And then we went over to the Van Gogh experience, which is near Spitalfields Market, or Liverpool Street area. And that was great fun too. So we had a really nice day, and the weather was like this in the morning, as it seems to be at the moment, and then it gets dark and really cold very fast. Anyhow, that is what we did on Monday. Let me just give you an update on today in a sec. So it's probably worth prefacing this by saying that my thinking was that if we moved house, sort of autumn, early winter, then that'd be in some ways brilliant, because my work is quite cyclical and very often it's very much sort of heavily into late winter, early spring, and then through to summer, and then it quietens down again in the autumn. So I thought, well, I won't have much work on, and that's a good thing because I've got masses to do in the house, like new loft insulation, stripping out old wallpaper, there's lots and lots, painting, etc. office needs to be delivered into the garden. There's a lot of things that need to happen. Anyway, however, lost my train of thought there. Very Johnson-esque. I have realised that this year the normal sort of cyclical nature of my work has been massively upset by the late start of the year. The fact that, we were in lockdown in the first few months, and then events didn't really start until late summer. So actually I've got quite a lot of work over the winter, and I'm trying to manage it at the moment. To give you some idea, I've been mastering a series for women's football. I'm now just doing episode 6. Episode 7 is coming next week, I think. And there's a couple more to come, I don't know when. Simultaneously, I'm working on the second series of Winning Mindset, which is the International Paralympic Committee and Alliance podcast, multi-award winning, I should note, which is a really big project for me, and I'm really happy to be back and doing it again because I loved it. So those, both for the same client, so that's quite a lot of stuff to be getting on with. There's at least one of those a week. There's some outstanding Red Bull stuff that still hasn't wrapped up from the end of the series, so that's going to land any second. There's the famous client that I mentioned a few months ago that took a year to make one podcast and has now taken 12 weeks to try and approve 2 episodes. Who knows when episode 3's coming? Not me. And then on top of that, I've got quite a lot of event work going on at the same time. So obviously some of that more recently has been filming in Dublin and events in London. But there's also been a lot of guest list iPad shenanigans in town, and crowd screens and all that kind of thing, which is a bit less intense, but still involves me having to travel up to town. There's lots of those coming, and so things haven't quietened down, and it's nearly Thanksgiving. So I'm expecting to get a date for this house move soon, seeing as the cyber attack on our conveyancer seems to have been mostly resolved by now. And once that happens, I'm going to have to start doing things like moving utilities, informing removals companies, speaking to the garden office people to come and do an installation, getting a date for the electrician, getting a date for the new boiler person, buying a front door. There's a lot, obviously, moving house is not simple even when you're not doing massive redecorations. So this is all kind of coming to a head soon. And I'm very excited about it, but also a bit nervous about the amount of time and my effort it'll need. So to that end, our buyer had a home survey done today. That's why I was in this morning. And I've just had a call from the home office people who want to come install the office on the 6th of December, which is difficult because we haven't got the key to the house yet. So, it's all starting to kick off. Kew is beautiful, even though we're now in the week where most of the leaves that are going to go have gone, and the few remaining ones are all really yellow and brown. But still, there's a nice wintry mist and blue skies, so can't complain. We are really into my least favourite part of the year. Now, I think it's only, what's the date today? 23rd? I don't know. Anyway, it's the 20-something. And we're only sort of 3 weeks away from the shortest evening, which is usually around December the 10th, December the 11th, and then the evenings start getting lighter again. But still, I can't stomach it. It's just too dark. And humanity wasn't meant to live in a place where it's dark more than 50% of the time, and that is the Northern Europe. Unfortunately, the United Kingdom, Scandinavia in particular, bits of Northern Germany and Northern France do have that, and it's really unpleasant, and it's really bad for your mental health, and it's just not a fun place to be. And if the weather's like this, you can just about get away with it as long as you go out during the day. But if you get a grey day or a rainy day, then the sun feels like it never comes up. There's never any light, and your body produces very little in the way of serotonin, and it's just very depressing. So living this far north is a risk, and you know, that's why we have festivals this time of year to distract us. Why things like Thanksgiving, the original pagan festivals, why they moved Christmas to this time of year. And, you know, you've got things like Epiphany in January and all those, you know, New Year's. It's all to try and distract you from the fact that otherwise it's a bit dark and miserable. But if you get up in good time and you go out for a walk in the morning, you can feel a bit better about the world, which is why I'm doing it as often as I can at the moment. And if you work in the evenings, which I am doing, you don't notice them so much, and so it's much more pleasant. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I love Christmas food. It's my all-time favourite kind of food. So there are pros and cons, but I would still much rather live somewhere that had more light. Look at that, that's impressive, isn't it? This is part of the Christmas at Kew display this year. They built a massive dome over the bridge. It is very nice to be able to walk along the towpath in this weather. It's beautiful. I'm just sort of gathering as much sort of positive energy into my body as I can, so that I've got it all the way through work tonight, and I can sort of take it into tomorrow morning, and hopefully at some point our solicitor will ring us and talk about next steps, because well, to say we're eager is an understatement, and say that it's a bit of a drain not knowing is also somewhat of an understatement. So good energies from nature. It's slightly weird being back at Grosvenor, if I'm honest. This is a place I've spent so many nights working, and it's just kind of nice to be back. I mean, the worst thing is the general public. I mean, they're just awful, but you know, there's 1,000 of them here, but they're all bidding for charity tonight, so you can't really hate it too much. But like all events, they haven't seen each other in ages, so they really just want to talk to each other. They don't really want to pay attention or do what it is they're supposed to be doing. So it's a bit difficult for the hosts. Anyway, I should be going shortly when the iPads are finished with. Hi there. The crisp autumn days are back. Yesterday was miserable, like it was cloudy all day, a bit wet. I was very tired. Crystal was ill. It just felt like a non-day. Today feels better again. But you know, it's a bit more uncertain at the moment. I'm still waiting on a call from our conveyancer to get this flipping house purchase moving again, because 2 weeks on from their cyber attack, I am feeling now a bit annoyed, if I'm honest. They say their system's mostly back up, but I haven't heard a peep, so something has to give, because otherwise we're going to be in a lot of trouble. So they've got, in my mind, till the end of today, and then after that point all hell's going to break loose. So that's the only annoyance that's currently overshadowing me. I've got a bazillion podcast projects ongoing at the moment. Literally, as soon as I finish one, another one lands in my inbox. So I'm taking a brief opportunity to go for a little walk and buy some cake, because I think that is the very least that I deserve at the moment. Oh, it's nice to have been able to find my balaclava, because this was cool before masks were a thing. And in this temperature, it really is nice to keep your face warm. And it's a hat and a mask all in one. Amazing. Who'd have thought, eh? I've come to a bit of a walk because I've been quite sedentary today, apart from going to buy cake, which kind of, you know, didn't really work out as a form of exercise, more of a form of self-gratification. So, yeah, I thought I'd take a very long way to walk to pick up Amelia from nursery, the route that takes nearly 2 hours to get to nursery instead of 15 minutes. So that way I stretch my legs. I've just got so many podcast projects incoming and none of them have arrived this afternoon when they were promised. So I'm going to just go out and enjoy the sunset instead. I think that's probably a better use of my time for now. Well, see, I think that was totally worth it, just to walk up here to see the sun disappearing behind the trees over there. And the deer are looking confused as ever. This is really just reminding me that I need to catch up on vlogs. I'm still 6 or 7 weeks behind and there's been a bit of a pause. It requires motivation, it requires time, it requires energy, and it requires clarity of mind. And I've been a bit light on all those things, but it always happens in the end. So I will get to it. Not that you particularly care, because, you know, I'm talking about vlogs that have already been posted from your perspective. But it'll happen again, so I'm future apologising.